Have you ever been stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic on the I-10 in Houston? On a 105-degree day with your AC blowing hot air right in your face? If the answer is yes, stick around. Because what I'm going to show you today will save your car and whatever is left of your sanity. And hey, if you think this can't happen to you, stay too. Because most people only find out about this problem when the temperature gauge is already buried in the red. Before we go any further, hit that like button and subscribe because today's content is too important to miss. Ring the bell for notifications to drop a comment right now. Has your temperature gauge ever crept past the halfway mark? Let me know down below. Today we're talking about a maintenance item that 99% of American drivers completely ignore. It's the condenser and radiator cleaning. Sounds like nothing, right? Sounds like just washing some random part. But this neglected maintenance is responsible for thousands of engine overheats every year across the US, especially in states like Texas, Arizona, Florida, and California, where the heat shows absolutely no mercy. You're driving your Camry, your Silverado, doesn't matter the vehicle, and suddenly you notice that when you turn the AC on, the temperature gauge starts climbing. First, it goes to the halfway point. No big deal, but then it creeps past the middle. Then it goes to 3. Then you look at the dashboard and the thing is almost in the red zone. You turn off the AC in frustration and the gauge drops back down. You think you solved the problem. You didn't, my friend. You just kicked the can down the road. Just like that credit card statement you decide not to open. This symptom has a name and a location. The location is right here at the front of the engine. In that area, most people have never even looked at since they drove off the dealer lot. The number one culprit is blockage in the condenser and radiator. Your car's AC system runs on a closed-loop refrigerant cycle. That refrigerant leaves the compressor at high pressure and high temperature and travels to the condenser, which sits at the very front of the car. The condenser's job is basically to dump the heat that the refrigerant is carrying. To do that, it needs fresh air flowing through it. While you're moving down the highway, that air comes in naturally through the grill. The problem starts when you're stuck in traffic. That's when the electric fans mounted behind the radiator kick in. They need to pull outside air through the condenser and radiator to keep everything cool. Now think about this with me. If the condenser and radiator are clogged with dead bugs, pet hair, cottonwood seeds, and every kind of organic material imaginable, that air can't get through. The fans end up working like a DMV employee on a Friday afternoon before a holiday, making a lot of noise but getting nowhere. And then the gauge starts doing that little dance, all too well, when the AC refrigerant can't dump its heat at the condenser. It arrives at the compressor, still hot, system pressure spikes. And the car has a safety switch that detects this and shuts the compressor off automatically. It's the same logic as a circuit breaker in your house. The system would rather shut down than blow up. The practical result is that you're driving along. The AC cuts out of nowhere, you turn it back on. It works for a few minutes, then cuts out again. This keeps repeating until you get home soaked in sweat and ready to snap at anyone who talks to you. Sound familiar? Tell me in the comments, are you dealing with this problem right now? Does your gauge climb when the AC is on? Does the AC shut off on its own? Drop a comment. And if you're learning something new here, go ahead and hit that like button because it helps this content reach more people who need it. Before any cleaning, you need to diagnose first. Condenser and radiator blockage is the #1 cause, but it's not the only one. If you clean everything and the car keeps overheating, you're going to be frustrated. And I'd rather help you avoid that. So check these 4 things before you start. First, the thermostat. It's a heat-sensitive valve that controls when the hot coolant from the engine starts circulating through the radiator. If it gets stuck in the closed position, the coolant is trapped inside the engine. The car overheats, even with a clean radiator. The thermostat is a cheap part, between $15 and $50, depending on the vehicle. And a lot of people have never replaced it in the entire life of the car. Second, the water pump. If the shaft is playing it or the impeller is worn down, coolant flow drops, and the engine can take cool itself. To check with the engine cold and the radiator cap off, start the engine and look for visible coolant circulation inside the radiator. If you don't see any movement, it could be the thermostat or the pump. Third, the coolant. A lot of people just top it off with plain tap water and think they're good. Plain water boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit, has no corrosion inhibitor, and no anti-foaming agent. Proper coolant has a higher boiling point and protects the internal components. Always use the right product. Mix to the ratio specified in your owner's manual. Fourth, the radiator cap. This little cap keeps the system pressurized, and that pressure raises the boiling point of the coolant. A faulty cap loses pressure. The coolant boils at a lower temperature. Bubbles form, coolant efficiency drops, gauge goes up. You can get this tested at any tire shop or auto parts store with a pressure tester for next to nothing. Once you've checked those 4 points, now you're ready to clean. For this, you'll need an acid-based coil cleaner. In the US market, you can easily find Nickel Gun Evap Foam or AC Safe Coil Cleaner at any HVAC supply shop or Home Depot. Both work. The AC Safe formula is gentler, better for radiators with aluminum components. The Nickel Gun is more aggressive for heavily embedded grime. If your radiator is in rough shape, go with the stronger one. You'll also need a garden pump sprayer. Never use a pressure washer for this step. The fins on the radiator and condenser are extremely thin. An improper pressure washer will bend them flat, and the problem will be far worse than the dirt was. Round it out with plenty of clean water, safety glasses, and gloves. Acid coil cleaner is exactly what the name says. It should not get in your eyes. With the engine completely cold, remove the lower front splash guard to access the condenser and radiator. Look at the things, those tiny, paper-thin metal louvers arranged in rows. In extreme cases, the buildup between them can reach an inch or more in thickness and forms an almost airtight valve. Dilute the product 50-50 with water. Never use it straight. The concentrated solution can damage rubber seals and aluminum components. Apply it evenly across the entire front surface of the condenser. You'll see foam forming, and that's exactly what's supposed to happen. That's the chemical reaction breaking down the accumulated material. Let it sit for 10 to 15 minutes. Don't leave it longer than that because the acid can start attacking the metal surfaces. Then rinse with the garden sprayer and clean water from back to front, meaning from the radiator side toward the front of the car, and you'll see the gunk coming out through the front face of the condenser. Repeat the rinse 3 or 4 times. Then run the same process on the radiator. The before and after difference is dramatic. The fins that were completely blocked open right up. It's like replacing the air filter in your home HVAC system after a year of not touching it. To confirm the results, do the paper test. Fold a sheet of paper in half and hold it in front of the condenser with the engine and AC running. When the fans kick on, watch the paper. If it's pressed firmly against the condenser and holds there, you're good. If it falls or flutters weakly, there's either a fan issue or some remaining blockage. Ridiculously simple test. Costs you nothing. Gives you incredibly valuable information. Now here's something that goes against what a lot of people believe. You don't have to wait for your car to have a problem to do this maintenance. That wait until it breaks mindset is exactly what costs people a fortune at the shop. Do it at least once a year, ideally before summer. If you live in a polluted city like Phoenix or Miami, or if you drive a lot of dirt roads, every 6 months might be more appropriate. What does it cost to do it preventively? The coil cleaner runs between $10 and $20. One bottle does multiple cars at the right dilution ratio. A garden pump sprayer you can borrow from a neighbor or buy a cheap one at Walmart for under $15. What does it cost not to do it? Head gasket damage between $800 and $3,000. A C compressor damage between $500 and $2,000. A cracked block in extreme cases. A replacement engine for a typical commuter car runs between $3,000 and $10,000. Do the math yourself. There was a driver here in Houston. Let's call him Marcus, who spent 6 months with the AC cutting out on him. He took it to 3 different shops. The first one charged $280 for a service that didn't fix it. The second charged $180 for a diagnosis that also didn't fix it. The third charged $150 to recharge the refrigerant, which was already full. Now, one of the 3 looked at the obvious thing sitting right there in front of him. Literally, A completely clogged condenser when he finally got to a shop that did the cleaning properly. In under 2 hours and for about $100, the problem was gone. He had spent over $600 before landing on a $100 fix. This isn't made up. It happens every single day in shops across the country. Have you been through something like this? Have you paid for a repair that didn't fix the problem? Share it in the comments, because it will help other people recognize the right solution. And drop a like if you're picking up something new here. Before we wrap up, one detail a lot of people forget after the cleaning. The condition of the cooling system, hoses. Over time, they dry out and develop micro cracks that don't show up when the system is cold, but they leak once it's pressurized and hot. A small leak slowly drops the coolant level until the day the car finally overheats completely. Squeeze the hoses by hand while you have the front of the car open. A healthy hose is firm but flexible. If it's too stiff or feels soft and spongy, replace it. It costs between $20 and $80 and is a whole lot cheaper than getting stranded on the shoulder of I-40 in the middle of the Mojave at 2 in the morning. That's it, folks. Now you have everything you need to tackle this problem on your own car or to walk into a shop and tell them exactly what to look for. Share this video with that friend or family member who keeps complaining that their car's AC is garbage or that their car runs hot. This might be exactly their problem. Hit the like, turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. And go down to the comments and tell me the most useful thing you took away from this today. Thanks for watching. See you in the next